No punts, no deep kickoffs. We'll talk about this and explain it next on the Coach Lanny Dauksch Show. I'm Billy Woods, along with the head coach of the West Memphis Blue Devils, Coach Lanny Dauksch, and we're going to be talking about Blue Devil football this week. And boy, what a good football game, and what a good situation we have to talk about with you today. Coach, you come into this week's game. You host North Pulaski Academy. North Pulaski used to be in our conference. Pulaski Academy, which is one of the more attractive schools in Arkansas as far as the football program. They come into the ball game 1-1. You come into the ball game 2-0. And before we talk about Pulaski Academy, let's talk about last week's game. It was a weather-shortened victory, a 13-0 victory over Blytheville, and one of the strangest nights of football I've ever had. Is this just an unbelievably strange start to your season?
Well, you know, getting rain the first game is unusual because it's usually later on towards the end that you even have to worry about rain. So that was different. But then the Blytheville thing, that was just, I mean, that's just one of those one-in-a-lifetime situations. And it hit everybody across the state. And we were lucky we got a half in so we could count it as a game. A lot of people prepared for a week, traveled a long ways, and didn't even get to play or played very little.
Yeah. And we knew that it was coming. Before the game, they were just hoping to maybe get in a quarter of dry football. I think it was by the time 30 minutes before the game, it was already in Jonesboro moving toward Blytheville. And so you knew it was coming. Did that affect anything that you wanted to do early in the game?
Well, not really, because we'd planned all week because they said, 50% chance, 30% chance, 80% chance. So they really didn't know how that storm was going to develop. They knew that the conditions were right. And I don't think they predicted that it was going to be as bad as it was when it did develop, because they were thinking it was going to be rain. But when it hit, it was big-time thunder and lightning and wind and the whole works, wasn't it, Billy?
Yeah. Not only was the weather bad enough to cancel the second half against Blytheville, but the first week of the season you had that big thunderstorm move through just after halftime, and although you got 4 full quarters of play in, you still had to deal with a lot of weather and the threat of weather. So has that hampered your coaching staff's ability to evaluate?
Well, hopefully not. It's a distraction for the players. It's a distraction for the coaches. It was very inconvenient for the fans. I hate it for them the worst.
Right.
But no, we've talked about before at the start of the year, we didn't know what it'd be. I said, but there's going to be some adversity show up. There's going to be some times when things happen. And I've heard of some pro coaches before talk about they'd practice at 3 in the morning.
No
and then they'd come back and they'd practice 11 at night, just to kind of get them in the routine. Hey, when you show up, we're going to work. It doesn't matter what time it is, if it's hot, if it's cold, if the mosquitoes are all over you, if it's freezing cold. Hey, you got to get in a mindset that, hey, it's time to go to work. And we've been tested in that this fall already.
Now, you had 217 total yards in the first half, which means normally, if you play the second half, you're on your way to a 400-yard night. You have to be pretty pleased with that part of it.
Well, it was. We didn't finish some drives. That was the part of it.
Yeah.
We only got a couple of scores out of it. And normally you get that much yardage in a half that you're going to put more than 2 scores on there. So we didn't finish some drives. But part of that we have to give credit to our defense, because I think every series but 2, it was 3 and out for our defense. They go out there, they stop them 3 plays. We get the ball back, so we're getting more opportunities to gain yards and score points.
The most eventful thing to happen last Friday night was you stopping Blytheville inside the 5-yard line, and then you guys go on a 98-yard touchdown drive. That had to be, was that the best drive of the season?
That was very positive. I mean, on both hands. They get a big play with one of their pass plays, get it down to about the, 6 or 7, first down, we hold them 4 downs, come out, and you're right, it's on the 1.5, 2 yard line. And the very first play, we block well. Jarvis pops it up the middle for about a 35, 40 yard gain. Run a few more plays, and then we get to throwing the ball because we're wondering about the time. And a couple incompletions, but saw some things, and we was able to complete them. Big play to the left, came back from big play to the right, and we're in the end zone. So it was an outstanding drive.
It was, and you talked about you throwing the ball. Cody Frazier threw some balls out near the sideline a couple of times. It looked, I mean, he was on the money. The routes were wide open.
Right.
It looked good.
It did. We pass block. We're very proud. Cody Frazier, I think we attempted 8 or 10 passes. I think 10 passes, which is quite a few for us in the first half, and he didn't get touched on any of them. So the lineman did a great job, and of course he had to move around a little bit, but no one hit him. So anytime that your quarterback can look down the field and have time to find receivers, they're usually going to be open if he's got time to wait on them to get open and then get the ball to him. And our offensive line and our backs are involved in that too. Did an outstanding job of protecting him.
Which leads me to my next question. I'm glad you said that because I was going to ask you, is your pass blocking right now on your offensive line ahead of the run blocking?
Well, it seemed to be that way.
Right.
The run blocking, we've got to get better. There's no doubt, Billy. We've got to maintain our blocks. We're starting our blocks well, but we're not finishing them. And you got to have both parts of it. You got to come off low and hard, and then you got to stay with them till the ball carrier gets by. So we've got to improve in that area for sure. And our running backs, sometimes they're missing the hose a little bit too. So they've got to use better vision running the ball.
Now you talked about Jarvis Cooper and the big gain he had on that 98-yard drive. He totaled 87 yards in the first half against Blytheville. And really he got a chance to show his speed on the perimeter. Is he more dangerous on the perimeter right now than running between the tackles?
Well, it may be, but it may be just because we're missing some blocks. I think he's going to be a great inside runner. We've had some Kyle Paynes, Dearius Howard. We've had some other big fullbacks that are good inside runners, but like Jarvis, they've got speed. So once they break through the linebacker level, instead of just getting stopped there, they've got a chance to put a move on the safety and go the distance. And we're hoping that's kind of the runner Jarvis is going to be for us.
Okay, now let's put Blytheville aside and let's talk about Pulaski Academy because I think Pulaski Academy has gained a lot of national recognition for not really their success. I mean, they've been ultra successful coming into this season. They've won 27 of the last 29 games, but that's not what's given them all the attention. And it's the fact that they do not punt the ball and that they do not kick the ball deep on kickoffs. Have you ever heard of, is that the most unusual philosophy of football that you've ever heard?
Well, it's very innovative. He's got some data that he says supports what he does. And there's a college coach, I think it's San Jose, said that he wants to do that, but because of his job, he really can't commit to it. But he said this year, if they cross the 50-yard line, they're not punting. They're going to they're in 4-down territory when they cross the 50. So he's doing very innovative. I mean, instead of 3 and out, you've got to go 4 and out. So they've got another down to gain first downs and to move the ball. A win Arkansas a few years ago, I think it's 3 years ago, they played them in the playoffs, and they converted, I think, 5 out of 6 fourth down. So obviously that's 5 drives that kept going. It can't put them in a bind though. Just against Fayetteville this year in a scrimmage, they were 4th down and 30 from their old 4-yard line. They still go for it, didn't get it. Fayetteville comes out, runs one play and scores. And I think that happened to them against Helena about 5 years ago when they played them in the regular season. So that's their theory. It's very innovative. It's pretty neat. And it does give their offense more times to score points. The kickoffs, they're onside kickers. They're saying field position means absolutely nothing to them. They don't care where you get the ball. They don't care where they get the ball. They just want the ball. So they onside kick every time. If you get where you can get it, then they'll squib kick it. They still won't kick it deep, but they'll just kind of spot kick it and try to kick it over that first line. Again, trying to get by there to get the ball. And Billy, one thing you may not know about them, they don't return punts.
They don't. That I didn't know.
They do not return punts. They keep their defense out there. They line up. They watch.
They're going to try and block it every time, right?
No, never block it. If they block it, they might rough the punter.
Well, what is the thought on that then?
The thought on that is, let's make sure they don't fake it, punt the ball. We don't care where we get it, but we're going to get the ball and we're going to score from there. If we return it, we might fumble it back to you. If we block it, we may run into the kicker. Just kick the ball, let it roll, and wherever it stops, we know we've got the ball, and it doesn't matter to us where it is as long as we've got it.
Now, that part I did not know. I know about the other two parts. So, Coach, my question is, if you're a football fan of any kind, I mean, you don't even have to be a high school football fan, but if you're a football fan, you want to come to this game, do you not?
It is very unconventional, very innovative. It's very exciting. I think last week they were 47 of 55 throwing the ball. So the ball is going to be in the air. They will run the ball. If the receivers get tired, they'll run the ball to give them a break. But the running the ball is just kind of, all right, everybody needs a break. Let's run the ball this time. Okay, now start passing again.
So this is not going to be a 2.5-hour game, right?
Well, we hope there's going to be some incompletions in there. You know, if they're all completed, the clock still goes. But hopefully there'll be some incompletions in there. But, yes, and they've got some players I'm sure you're lined up to talk about, but they got some big-time receivers, got a 6'3" quarterback, and they do a really good job.
Now, you played against Gus Malzahn when he was the head coach at Springdale in the 2005 state championship game, and I know they played at a fast pace. They do the same thing. Pulaski Academy plays at a very fast pace. Can you differentiate between Malzahn's pace and Kevin Kelly's pace? Are they similar?
Well, I think Malzahn's pace was actually faster as far as getting up there and snapping the ball and running it. All they do run a fast-paced offense, but Gus would run the ball. They had a lot of running plays, a lot of reverses, a lot of ways to get the ball in space. And PA, you know, they're going to run the ball less than 10 times a game. They're going through the air. Now, they will throw some passes, but the thing is about it, Billy, 73% of their passes this year has been less than 10 yards. So they really like to throw the ball short, get their athletes the ball in space, and then it becomes a running play. You know,
wow.
Throw a quick pass and get them going. But they will go deep on it also.
They want to get out on the perimeter, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
On the issue of PA not punting, okay, is there a situation you want your defense to put their offense in that may make them not necessarily change their mind on what they want to do, but make them extremely vulnerable on a fourth down?
Well, you know, there's a couple of ways to go about it, and Coach Kirkland will have to, you know, decide what there was. Some of them is, you know, you're going to rush 3 or 4 guys, you're going to drop back 7 or 8, and you're going to get in coverage and try to make the window small. So if they throw the ball, you can be there to tackle the guy immediately, maybe even shake the ball loose. And then the other theory on it is go press man, get up in their face, knock their timing off. Everybody that doesn't have a man, you go get the quarterback and make him get rid of it in 1.6 seconds. And that way it limits what routes they can run. They can't run anything really other than a pick play or a fade play, because everything else you're taking them out of their rhythm. So there's 2 different ways to go about it, and I'm sure we'll try both of those at different times.
Now, I guess going back to what I was talking about, is this the most attractive non-conference opponent that you've scheduled since you've been head coach here?
Well, you know, we've had some good ones. I think Fort Smith Southside was a neat one.
Yeah.
You know, because of all the history they have there at their school and the winning they've had. So it's really neat for our fans to see someone from the other side of the state that's had a lot of success. That was a fun game. But I think this one probably rates a little bit higher because of their national recognition. He's been on ESPN Sports, you know, and they talked to him and he's explained everything. He's been on the, is it 30-30 type thing?
He's been on HBO.
And HBO. Yeah. And so he's got a lot of national notoriety for his innovative way of thinking in football. Kind of changed the game a little bit. It's going to be fun. Our fans will not get to see something wide open like this probably the rest of the season. We're going to play some passing teams, but not someone that is just totally, completely dedicated to throwing the football.
Kind of like paying a quarter to go see a freak show at at the fair, right?
But you know,
I mean, from a fan standpoint.
From a fan standpoint, but you're going to come away. It's different, and you're going to go, wow.
Yeah.
Well, wow again.
Yeah.
And even on completions, on incompletions, and it gives your defensive backs a chance to get some interceptions. It gets your defensive backs some chance to really get some good licks on their receivers because
right.
Obviously, you know, they're going to be throwing the ball around, and you're going to time it right. But you know, they're going to get the yards. I told the players the other day, I said, hey, I don't care if they're 50 out of 60 for 600 yards. That doesn't matter how many times they cross the goal line. I mean, that's the bottom line,
right.
you know.
Right.
And it's going to be exciting for our fans. It's exciting for theirs. And it comes down to, you know, they're going to have a drive of 10, 15, 20 pass plays. But we just got to keep them from crossing the goal line. They can cross all the other lines, but
right.
that's the one.
Now, I've had plenty of people from Marion say that if the Patriots weren't playing in town on Friday night, they would definitely want to be at this ball game. So I mean, people are aware of
yeah.
what this the storyline.
It's a unique team with very talented people. A couple of them we know are going to be playing for the Razorbacks next year. Some other ones may be very talented. They've had a lot of success, but it's a different type of football, and people that love offense and love excitement of the ball traveling through there, they're going to love this football game.
Okay, another question I've got, and I know that between high school and college, it's a lot different because in college, you recruit your type of players. In high school, you can't do that. You have to just play the hand that's dealt you. But it's really strange how you get, when you have a philosophy on offense that is like PA's or like Arkansas's or like Arkansas State's, in which it's all about offense. You want to play at the fast pace, and it's a lot of points and a lot of emphasis on speed and points and everything. Normally, those teams' defenses aren't worth a flip. Why is that? And I'm not saying PA's is, but why is that? Especially in college, why can't they recruit good defenses to play with to go with the high-powered
right.
offense?
Well, part of that is that the defense has to defend more plays.
Yeah.
I mean, if they go out there and they go 4 and out, they may only take 15, 20 seconds off the clock.
Yeah.
And now you've got a lot more plays for the other team to run, so you're going to have to defend, instead of defending 60 plays this week, like we have been, their defense against us, they may have to defend 85 because there's going to be that much more time on the clock. So that's part of it. And another thing is when they're picking and choosing, you say, okay, we don't want guys to play both ways. We've got a really good athlete. Do we want to play him at corner? Or do we want to play him at receiver? At PA, he's going to play receiver.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, no doubt. All right, I talked to Kevin Kelly earlier this week, and he didn't have a whole lot of time. I really wanted to spend about an hour talking with him about how he came about with this philosophy, which I did get an answer on that. He got it from a Harvard professor who watched 3 years worth of every college, Division I college game and every NFL game, and just came up with this statistical analysis, kind of like sabermetrics, and found out that he said that teams really should be punting less than they do. Well, Kevin Kelly basically doesn't punt, so obviously. But Kelly said the big thing is on third down, the difference is on third and say mid-yardage, and he used the illustration of 3rd and 7. He said for 3rd and 7 for most teams, it's a passing down. For us, we just take what the defense gives us. So with that in mind, is there something more unconventional you like to do on defense against them, especially in a 3rd and mid-range?
Well, really, it's like a second down play is what it amounts to.
Right.
First down's a given, and then all the other downs, 4th down plays like a 3rd down play, and so we're going to strategize there. A lot of it, Billy, is just going to be see matchups. Now we're still in high school football, so we got to see, can we match up with them in a press man? Can we get our best people on their best people, our average people on their average people, and can we do a good job of matching up? If it's no, then we got to back up and play zone. If it's a yes, now we've got some options.
Mm-hmm. So how big a factor is field position Friday night?
For us, I'm going to love it, Billy.
Yeah.
I mean, if they onside kick and we get it, we're starting midfield. I love field position.
Right.
If we've got them backed up on their own 20, 25-yard line, and we can stop them on 4th down, that's like blocking a punt or getting an interception. I mean, great field position. To them, they could care less. They don't care if they start on the 2-yard line or the 2 going in. They've got the same playbook, and he really does do a good job of he's got some good coaches, he's got some good players, and they're going to, whatever we do, they've got an answer on paper for it. If we're going to play press man, they're going to do this. If we're going to play a 2-high zone, they're going to do this. If we're in a 1-high zone, they're going to do this. And a lot of it we hadn't talked about yet, Billy, is our forefront. What kind of pressure can they put on the quarterback? Are they going to allow him 2 seconds to throw the ball or 3 seconds to throw the ball? And that's a world of difference in throwing the football. If he gets 1, 2 looks, and if we got him covered, we got him sacked. If we give him the 3rd and 4th look, which he's capable of doing, then it's going to be hard because somebody's going to come open eventually.
Now, I went to the ASU Memphis game last Saturday in Jonesboro, and early in the game, Memphis's defense had some success defending Arkansas State's offense, but later in the game, as some tempo was acquired by or rhythm, I should say, acquired by Arkansas State, Memphis's defense did not touch Ryan Applin, the quarterback, and he just had a lot of time to throw the ball. How big is getting pressure on, and how it's going to be hard because he likes to get rid of the ball so fast?
It's vitally important that we get pressure, and of course we're going to start off our 4-man rush and see if our 4 people can get back there with 5 people blocking, because they're empty a lot of times. They don't even have a back in the backfield. Hopefully we can. If we can't, we've got some twists, we've got some stunts with just our linemen to try to get somebody free. And then, of course, phase 3 is we're going to have to start bringing some linebackers in there. And, of course, when you bring a linebacker, then you're vacating a zone somewhere on the field, obviously. Whatever zone he was covering or someone fills in for him, they're leaving another one. So it's kind of a gambling thing. But, you start off saying, okay, if we can rush with 4, boy, it's great. If we can't, then we're going to have to twist and stunt those 4 to get them in different gaps. So we're going to have to start bringing some linebackers.
So, all right, back to them not returning your punts. What do you want to do then, as far as punting the football? Do you want to just get an end-over-end roll to it as much as you can, or what do you want to do? Well,
if we'd had more time to prepare, there are some ways that you can get that punt rolling. Where it hits, it rolls more. But we got a sophomore punter, and we're proud of the way he's just punting, and we're just going to punt it and get down there and cover it and let it roll as far as we can and field position. Like I said, it doesn't concern him. I love field position. So we're going to try to change the end of the field. If we're on one end, we'll try to get Gray Fender to get that ball out of there and change the ends. And if they've got to go 80 yards, they said they don't care, but they do, Billy.
Sure.
If they're going 80 yards, they're going to have to throw more passes than if they're going 20.
Right.
And there's more chances to make a mistake.
How will you handle their onside kicks?
We have worked on that since midsummer.
Oh, really?
Oh,
wow.
Yes, sir. Yes, we started back in the spring.
Okay.
We talked to some other high schools that were successful with them. We talked to some high schools that was unsuccessful. What did they do different than them? We talked to some colleges. When you're preparing for an onside kick, what's your alignment, what's your strategy, and kind of put all that together so we've got a plan.
Wow. All right, so if you win the coin toss Friday night, you're taking the ball, right?
We're taking the ball.
No doubt about it.
We want the ball.
You don't want to give them a chance to just do the same thing that happened to Cabot last year.
Well, we want the ball simply because now they're going to onside kick it, obviously.
Right.
And if we can get the ball at midfield and hopefully now, one thing we hadn't talked much about, Billy, is their defense is good. Mm-hmm. I was really disappointed watching film. I was hoping to see somebody that would just say, hey, hurry up and score so we can get the ball back. They're good. They've got a 220-pound linebacker that is being heavily recruited. He's 6 foot 225, inside linebacker. He's as good as we'll see all year. They've got some defensive ends that are very strong kids, and they play defense just like they do offense. They attack you. They're bringing blitzes from the outside, the inside and the outside, safety blitzes, corner blitzes. They play the same way they do on offense. They are attacking, which means we're going to have some plays that's going to be 0, some minus yards if we don't pick those up. But if we can ever get through that first wave, now we've got a chance for a big play. Wonderful
game. Now, Coach, let's go to Billy Wants to Know. I've got 3 good questions for you. I hate for Arkansas fans to bring this up, but their upset loss in overtime to Louisiana Monroe last week, that wasn't good. Is Arkansas' season over?
No, it's not overall. That was tough. Now, I know everybody's analyzed, reanalyzed, but it came down. Louisiana Monroe prepared very well, and the things Arkansas did, they were prepared for it. They put some wrinkles out there Arkansas wasn't prepared for, and you wonder, were they thinking Alabama? Where are we going? Okay, these are 5 Louisiana Monroe plays. Here's 3 Alabama plays. We're gonna spend 2 weeks getting ready for Alabama, and that's not the right way to do it. That's not the way to go
about it. No.
And I don't know that happened. But no, they're saying if they beat Alabama Saturday, who's going to think of Monroe? It's over. It's history.
No, they're not. But
that's a pretty big if, too.
That's a pretty big if, because that was going to be a big chore anyway. But now Tyler Wilson is questionable. Who knows what's going to happen there? Second question, Coach. Roger Clemens is making a comeback. He's a half a century old. He wants to pitch in the big leagues again. He's been playing in this independent league, which is not even really a minor league. It's more like a beer league. People aren't even playing for real money. I mean, these are weekend guys. Is this a good move on Roger Clemens' part or not?
Bad move.
I agree.
We all go through different phases of our life.
It's a midlife crisis.
Roger, give it up. Give it up. Move on to the next stage. And we all go through that, Billy. You know, we move up into marriage and we're thinking, man, if I was only a single guy. No, forget about that. You're married.
Right.
You know, move on. You get children. You go, man, I wish I could go here, go there, but you got to stay. Move on. We all go through it and enjoy each stage of life.
Right.
But he needs to move on.
He needs to move on. He's saying he's touching 88.
Oh, I believe that.
88 miles an hour. That is really a big accomplishment for a 50-year-old. But in the major leagues, they're going to jump on that pitch.
Move on.
And move on. I mean, my goodness, Roger. The third question, Coach, on, I guess, a bit of a sad note. I'm not a real big wrestling fan, although when I was a little boy, I did spend some time watching Channel 13 studio wrestling and maybe some Channel 5 wrestling as well. Jerry the King Lawler from Memphis suffered a heart attack on live television the other night on WWE. Did you get to see any of that footage?
I didn't. I've heard about it, but I didn't see it. And you know, we wish him well for sure, because he's definitely an icon of sports and entertainment in the Memphis area.
No doubt.
And really expanded not only Memphis, Mid-South, but nationally. But he's definitely a celebrity. And we wish him well, and all the doctors and nurses taking care of him.
Did you know that he married a girl from West Memphis? Maybe 20 years ago, 15 or 20 years ago. Stacy Carter lived across the street from me, as a matter of fact. And in fact, she was quoted in the paper today as saying that she'd been in contact with him. They divorced a few years ago, but anyway, we do wish Jerry the King Lawler the best, because Jerry the King Lawler can't be anything but good. Good vibes for Memphis and this area, no doubt about it.
That's right. I mean, he's one of those. We've had a few big celebrities make it from this Mid-South area, and he's definitely one of them.
Okay, Coach, we're about out of time, but we want to wish you good luck this week. And Coach, I'm going to tell you something.
We're thinking about getting oxygen on the sideline.
I know. I was going to say
there will be a lot of running going on.
It's going to be basket. It's going to be a full court, 94-foot basketball game.
It really will. I hope our fans come out. I hope we get good weather, even if we don't. Come out, because it really is, I wouldn't say a once in a lifetime thing, but it really is a unique experience to watch this kind of
no doubt.
offense and play. Hopefully we'll do well against it. It's going to be different for us.
No doubt.
But I think the fans will have a blast with it. They come out and be highly entertained.
Okay, we'll see you next week on the Coach Lanny Dauksch Show.